What up, everybody? Welcome. Another exciting round of AEW Dynamite recap and review. I am your hostess with the mostest divine intervention, joined as always, at least in spirit, by All Elite Joker.
Ooh, I'm a spirit.
In case you guys hadn't figured it out, visual difficulties, but we are still joining you here on this Wednesday to go over everything that happened on this week's episode of Dynamite. This week in Rochester, New York, for those who have not been keeping up since day one, it is the home of Mr. Brody Lee, who, God rest him, is still a huge influence in the town. A lot of energy this evening in Rochester for this episode of Dynamite. I hope it carries over into Rampage because this was a pretty hot crowd.
Oh yeah, man. Rochester's always a really strong crowd, which is something I appreciate about them. Yeah, the never-ending support of Mr. Lee, which we will get into a little bit later, in a very touching moment, which we all kind of knew was coming eventually, but touching nonetheless, especially since all the confusion and everybody's kind of wondering if Dark Order's staying together and everything and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get into that later. But yes, great show, hot crowd, and rightfully so. It was an outstanding episode. And one of the things we talk about often is a crowd can make or break a show. And tonight was no different.
Agreed. Starting off strong, had the TNT title match between Wardlow and Scorpio Sky. A street fight is how it was billed. American Top Team coming out in Sky's corner. Had a low blow pretty early on to Wardlow from Scorpio. And Wardlow was sent into the steps for the commercial. Had some fuck you Lambert chants as we came back from commercial. Wardlow did.
I didn't see what he did, but he deserved it.
Hey man, look, it didn't matter. It's Lambert. Fuck that guy. Wardlow off the top rope, crazy height on a pretty nice spot. Sky with the TNT title shot to Wardlow for a near fall. But we got the Powerbomb Symphony ×3, and he is crowned the new TNT champion. And this is now the second time that the TNT title has changed hands in Rochester. Obviously, the TNT title, not made famous by, but I think that Brody was like the first super influential TNT champion. And then certainly with his unexpected passing, I think he, kind of solidified his legacy. So I think Rochester will always be a place where we can expect potential change of hands for the TNT title.
Well, I mean, like John said tonight when he came out, Rochester is Dark Order country, and for good reason. I mean, like you said, Brody was definitely, without a doubt, the most definitive champion, like as far as the TNT championship has gone, Right. He was the most, like, he brought the prestige to that title. I mean, I know Cody did his thing and he was the inaugural champion and everything like that, but Brody really made that title mean something, and he brought a level of prestige and power and just raw talent that I'm so glad he was able to, just for the brief time that we were able to have him, I'm glad he was able to shine as bright as we knew he could.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
And that his legacy continues to live on in AEW. Honestly, they could have just done the, one-time, what do they call that? Memorial, one-time memorial.
Yeah. Memorial.
Hell, there's never, I don't want to say never, but they dedicated the entire episode to him and, his legacy and all that stuff. So it wasn't even just like an opening segment. And so it is nice that it's not all just for show. Like, his memory continues on in the company, even outside of Rochester.
Yeah, I mean, his influence was felt across the board. Like everyone, like I've never seen, and I know we live in a different time, but like of all the times that I've seen different, we've experienced different wrestlers passing and things like that, to see the public outcry from his passing, like you had people from every single promotion, anyone who's ever worked with him, met him, just speaking of how highly that man, like so highly of him, and just like as a family man, as a wrestler, as a guy to work with, just man.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely somebody that we will remember fondly. And we will talk more about Mr. Brody Lee and the Dark Order, as we said a little later in the show. Next, we had a John Moxley promo. We'll touch again on this a little later on. A couple promo segments about the main event, which was Moxley, his first interim title defense against Brody King. Essentially, the promo was about people always waiting to catch him off guard. But Moxley is an animal. He respects Tanahashi and he beat the crap out of him. And then a couple days later, he was cutting up people's faces into hamburger meat for fun. He said blood and guts. Blood and guts is like a Sunday golf for him. And Mox has done his homework on Brody King, and he needs to either step up or get stepped on. Moxley back in rare form as I know he's the interim champion, but he's still the champ at the end of the day. So,
yes.
It's good to see him back at the helm. And a lot of people are wondering if this is a new renaissance for AEW, getting back to maybe some long-term storytelling, and trying to get back into their old ways. Joker, how do you feel about Mox as two-time champion?
Mox, I feel, is definitely the most deserving of being our first two-time champion of the people who have been champions so far. Now, will we be having a different conversation if Brody was still with us? Possibly. But as it stands today, John was the best champion we had. I can't think of anybody else who could have carried the empty arena era on his back like John Moxley. I mean, the man was voted Wrestler of the Year when there was no fans in the crowds. Like, John demands and commands a presence. Like, you have to acknowledge when John's there. And I'm so glad that, people were where they were supposed to be today, and we will touch on that later. But I couldn't think of anybody else. As soon as they talked about Punk and his injury and the interim championship and everything like that, I was like, oh, John. Like, obviously.
Hands down. No questions asked.
No questions asked. And I'm glad he's able to, I'm glad he's getting this time. Like, I'm not happy about the reasoning, but I'm glad he's getting this time as the champion with the full arena, because he only got it truly the one real time when he won it at Revolution right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, he got to hold his head, the belt over his head, and then lockdown. But yeah, glad that he's champ again, and boy, that match. But we'll get to that later.
Agreed. Elvis, what up? Good to see you. Get to a couple of these other comments a little later, touching on some stuff we'll talk about later on in the show. Next, we had a promo backstage with Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. Long story short, they approached Keith Lee with a petition. They're trying to get Swerve Strickland removed from the roster because he's a sneaky snake. And Keith says while he has trust issues with his partner right now, they're currently still winning, unlike Tony Nese, unfortunately. Comment didn't go over super well, but what can you do? It's Keith Lee. It's not like, he's gonna fight him. So they went off to go do their own thing. But yeah, obviously still some troubled waters for Swerve in our glory. But I think a little later on, it seems like things kind of smoothed over, and we'll get on that in just a moment. But it's good to see Tony Nese doing something.
And his tiny knees.
And his tiny, tiny knees. We will touch on these two later, so we won't linger on this too long. But Swerve in Our Glory still looks good, man.
Oh man,
always looking good. Next we had Christian Cage and Luchasaurus coming out for another promo segment. Oh my!
That man will say whatever. Yeah, Elvis. We can call it good. You mean absolutely disrespectful? Oh my God, bro! Like, Matt Hardy. Oh well, I'll let you get into it first.
I'm crying. Christian Cage starts off saying that just coming off of Blood and Guts, the Cage that everybody's talking about is him, Christian Cage. And everybody, of course, is asking questions of why Luchasaurus has decided to align himself with Christian. And I think before he could really give him any of us an answer, Matt Hardy interrupts and basically says he's the Michael Jordan of being an asshole. And Christian then starts laying into this man and saying that, he's crazy. Joker's real, everybody. He's no longer a ghost. He's back in the human realm. That Christian starts laying into the Hardys, basically saying that Matt looks so ridiculous out here that Jeff is starting to look like the sober one. Too soon, Christian Cage. Too soon.
Too damn soon, bro.
Matt Hardy has regrets, though, about taking advantage of Proud and Powerful. I put PP here. Private Party, not P and P.
There's a difference.
Yes. Regrets about taking advantage of Private Party and Butcher and the Blade. And he wants to make sure that nobody else gets taken advantage of. So that's why he's out here trying to save Luchasaurus. Christian Cage says that he just wants to be close to a star like him and that he can't stand the fact that he's not the one being talked about. And at the end of the day, Luchasaurus beats the crap out of Matt Hardy and
chokeslam through a table.
He said a lot of other really awful things about really, really bad things about everybody, Matt's whole family, Jeff and his, drinking problem. And just, I think at one point he was like, you were so desperate for attention that you were willing to put your brother at risk to ride his coattails one more time for a final push. I was just like, God damn, man.
Yeah, bro.
I was going to say, you mentioned that they might have legitimate beef from back in the past.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where they've both, said in different interviews when the other party were brought up that they either had no comment or, less than savory things to say about each other. So, man, Christian always out here spitting hot fire, though. And like we said last week, I don't know if there's anybody else who could fill that void of being a just complete piece of shit.
Right, with no regard.
With no regard for anyone's feelings or well-being. Other than, Christian, in the place of MJF, whenever he pops back up, I mean, I'm not complaining. I still like Christian better than MJF. Hey, man. I said it. But yeah, man, Christian just Jesus. But yeah, Matt Hardy, man. I don't know what he expected to accomplish. Luchasaurus is all dark and stuff now, and you can't fight. I mean, he's already a dinosaur, and now you add on the fact that he's an evil dinosaur. You can't be an evil dinosaur. You can't beat that unless he also has a dinosaur, and I don't know where they just got those laying around. So we'll see what happens. Been expecting this Matt Hardy versus Christian match for a while, so that should be interesting. I can't think of who would be his tag team partner right now to help him out because he already admitted that he had used people in the past. And he was real sorry about it. And yeah.
Johnny Elite. I mean, that's who stepped in for Jeff for what was that? What was that? Was that Triple A?
That was Triple A. Yeah. In their tag team match, yeah.
Yep, and he's, I mean, already been on AEW television, so it's not a huge stretch for them to work together, I suppose.
I guess I was just trying to think of somebody like Lorge to compliment Luchasaurus, but I mean, Luchasaurus can wrestle with anybody, so it really doesn't matter.
Right, and I don't see this being like
a long-term thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, maybe one match out of it. I mean, I'll be honest, just the stair spot that Matt took, it seemed like he was really struggling. So I don't know. I love the Hardys, and I understand that they want to give back to the industry, which you should. You know, they've made such huge names for themselves. They're a wealth of knowledge. I just, at this stage in the game, don't need to see them putting their bodies on the line all the time. You know, and Matt and Jeff, if they had their way, would be throwing themselves off of balconies every week. So I don't know. I don't know where the middle ground is, but I think a feud with Christian is at least safe. And it's got some weight behind it. Just like you said, they've got beef from back in the past. I'm sure there's plenty of fans that want to see them go at it one last time. Except for Charmaine. Charmaine does not want to see it.
I was going to say, yeah, Matt actually, I think it was a tweet or a blurb from a interview or something, but Matt actually had said that, you know, he tried to get Jeff to go along with the broken stuff and the Brother Nero gimmick so that he would stop throwing himself off of everything, but that's just Jeff's way.
It is just his way.
It is. Not that Matt's any better, but I feel like Matt at least tries to be a little bit more safe about it and not do as crazy of stuff as Jeff, which has always kind of been the way, but Matt's not any better.
No, not particularly. Oh, them Hardy Bros. What are you going to do? Yes, congrats to Wardlow. My mans is now a champion. For those who are just joining us.
Shout out to Wardlow.
Yes, won the TNT title from Scorpio Sky in the opening match. Absolutely amazing for him. He's going to make a great TNT champ. Can't wait to root for him. Charmaine saying, I miss MJF. We were in New York tonight and still no MJF. Joker and I have been having a sidebar conversation, and it's almost getting to the point where it should be a bet, like a pool. And comment below on what you think it should be. But like, this man came on live television, and while Tony Khan was aware of what was going to happen, he still said, because we heard the uncensored version on Twitter. Joker, you want to take it away?
Fire me, you fucking Mark.
And so Joker and I have been trying to figure out how long do you put someone on the shelf for that? How long do you have them out of the public eye? You know, I don't know if maybe they're still having talks about contract stuff. Like, I don't know what's happening. If this is a work, this is one of the best ones I've seen in a very long time. Because, I mean, we're still talking about it. People are clearly wondering where MJF has been hiding. So I don't know, man. But I figured if we were in New York, this would be a good chance to see him. I said maybe Grand Slam. That's the next big New York show. And I think that that's a good chance to potentially see him turn up. Elvis with a very interesting question here. Divine Intervention. Are you still our UPR champ? Well, Elvis, let me tell you this. We have not had a proper poll on pay-per-views in God knows how long. And the previous one before that we actually had, nobody tallied the votes and decided who won. So in my eyes, nobody's taken the title from me. So yes, I'm still the UPR champion. And if anybody wants to be mad about it, they can fight me in the comments. Thank you, Joker. Always so supportive. All right, moving on. Quick promo here about Blood and Guts, just kind of recapping everything. Obviously, the Jericho Appreciation Society, very happy that Jericho himself did not have to be the one to tap. Regal saying that he had never seen anything like it in all his years. Essentially, all of this leading up to a face-off backstage with Tony Schiavone, with Jake Hager, and Claudio. Both agreeing to a non-physicality, as you usually see in these backstage segments. And Hager going after Claudio immediately, saying that, Claudio must think that he's hot shit. Everybody's got him thinking that he's the man. But he's never been WWE. He said WWE. I looked at Joker immediately. I'm like, can we say that? Are we allowed to say the other place on television?
Honestly, I don't think there's any reason they can't talk about each other. I feel like it's just the other tries not to acknowledge the other's existence. More so on the other side of things, because AEW, they have said WWE a couple of times, like the words WWE have come out of their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a good couple of occasions. I'm not sure if anybody's ever actually said the letters AEW in WWE. I'm not sure. I don't watch enough to say yay or nay, but it always carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, they've managed to skirt around it, as far as I can tell. Even Cody has not said the letters, and he came from there. So, I figure at this point, if one of ours is over there and they still haven't actually come out with the letters, at least they acknowledge that it exists, but they've not actually named AEW by name, as far as I know. So, I don't know. Very interesting. I didn't know if there was any copyright, because, there's certain things like people's names and stuff like that just can't carry over. So I don't know what the rules are there, but
it's a publicly traded company. So,
hey man, you're correct. Anyway, Claudio got a chance to talk, and I'm going to be honest, WWE missed out.
Man,
he is so good. Yes, he has a little bit of an accent, but he speaks so eloquently, and essentially he had to say that he beat Zack Sabre Jr. and the Jericho Appreciation Society in quick succession, and that he plans on going 3-0 against Hager. Real simple, nice, neat package there. I believe him. I think he's going to have a nice little hot streak under his belt. Not a surprise for Claudio against Hager. It's not an easy victory. I'm sure the match is going to be great, but Hager's not the type of person that needs to have his numbers protected.
No.
So they can put on a crazy good match, and Hager's protected in the sense that he's not going after any titles anytime soon, so can eat the pin, no problem.
Yeah, Hager's always good for a good visual. He's somebody who's very large. He's not a bad wrestler. He's been around for quite some time. He's an undefeated MMA fighter, which is always nice. And yeah, it's canon that Claudio is very strong and an absolutely outstanding wrestler. I'm very excited for this hot streak that he will be on, because he's one of those people I was like, there's been a lot of people who've come over. I'm like, oh man, I'm excited for this person just because I want to see what they do. Claudio is one of those few people like Danielson, like Cole, like Lee, like Swerve. Like there's certain people who I've just been like, please, because I know what they're capable of. Like we all know what they're capable of, but like they continue to all blow our minds, and I know Claudio is going to be no exception to that, especially with the fact that the man already did a giant swing on the top of a cage, very close to the edge of the cage. Like I know he wasn't like that close, but they were still probably about 2-3 feet away from the edge, like as far as where Jericho's head was swinging, which is close enough for if Claudio legitimately tripped, he could have slingshotted this man off the top of the cage.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens. Okay, like I'm very, very excited to see what Claudio does, especially when him and Eddie inevitably come to fisticuffs.
Yeah, him and Danielson too. I mean, I know they're in the same faction right now, but
they're gonna have a nice gentleman's fight. They have to.
Yeah, I mean, Danielson made it very clear that he wanted to or needed to fight Moxley before they really shared a ring together. So would be interesting upon his return to try to figure out who's the better technical wrestler. I think that would be an amazing match.
And then one with him, with the both of them, Zack Sabre Jr. and Jonathan Gresham. In a fatal 4-way.
I was about to say he's tired of being left out of the conversation. So,
bro, that match would be stupid.
Well, they have the manpower to get it done. Thank you so much. I really like my shirt too. Just got back from a Disney trip, so feeling a little nostalgic. Joker, shout out.
I sure mean I'm good, thank you.
All right, everybody. We have a lot more to cover. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of things happened tonight on Dynamite. Last week was a little walk in the park, but we've got a lot more segments to cover. So stick with us, and we will be right back after these messages.
Daddy. Don't wait up for me. I never do. What's wrong with Daddy?
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, movies were weird when we were kids.
Yeah, pretty darn.
There's a movie about a dad that turns into a snowman.
There is.
It was nice. Thanks for asking. We were at we were home.
But we were home on the actual 4th. Yes, we went on a wonderful short trip to Disney over this past 4th of July weekend. Had a fantastic time. As a matter of fact, here you are.
Nice.
That's one of my spoils. I got a Loki helmet.
I don't think I have spoils. Oh wait, I have an umbrella that looks like a katana.
He got a lot of questions about it, but it's a badass umbrella. All right, everybody, getting back on track. Like I said, a lot of things to cover this evening. Match between Butcher and the Blade with Bunny at ringside versus Swerve and Our Glory. Obviously a short match to bring the two of them closer together in all hopes. All right, we're going to cover the match first, and then I'll cover the segment after the fact. So, yes. So, yes, Keith Lee and Blade to start. Huge chop from Keith Lee in the corner. Of course, that's like one of his signature moves every match. Absolutely decimates everybody's chest. Bunny interferes. Swerve gets head dropped on the apron to go into the commercial. We come back to Swerve biting on, I think it was Butcher's hand.
Yes, he was biting his hand, and then after he bit his hand, I believe he headbutt him. And then did something else and punched him in the face.
Yes. Keith Lee throws the Blade into the Butcher.
I always love that spot.
Swerve with a face buster onto Blade. Yes. Essentially, a little bit of a mishap. Blade pulls Swerve into Keith Lee's path and ends up basically barreling over him. And in the end, Keith Lee comes in to save the match from a near fall. They end up doing a fist bump in the corner. Swerve and Our Glory finisher for the 1-2-3 win. kind of displaying still some discourse between the two of them, but overall they seem to be on the same page, especially since they're still winning. Joker, your thoughts on the match itself?
Yeah, man. Always great when you got Swerve and Keith. Yeah, Swerve in our glory. Butcher and Blade. I think Tony Schiavone said Butcher and Blade often get overlooked in the tag team division because they do have AEW has such an amazing tag team division. It is easy for you to lose track of certain people, but Butcher and Blade very consistent guys. One of the things I saw in the match that I appreciated that you don't get to see a lot of times was a trip actually work. Swerve did a backwards roll into a trip and actually tripped up Blade, which we've seen happen a couple of times, and it happens every now and again. But I'm always glad to see it actually work because, we see it often, and it doesn't so much look like something that's just going through the motions. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, great match between these two. That Swerve and Our Glory double foot stomp power bomb combination always looks absolutely devastating. I don't know how anyone's supposed to get up after that. But yeah, great match between those guys as always. And then we had a wonderful post-match angle.
Yes. Afterwards, Team Taz were very quick to interrupt Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. They come out. They're pissed off because, they're out here acting like they're the best tag team when obviously Team Taz is the best tag team. I will say that Ricky asked Hobbs to hold that FTW championship, and he looked mighty good holding the belt.
Hey, man. That's a big sirloin beef, sons of beef right there.
Yeah, I don't know if, I don't want to see the two of these, these two guys broken up. He didn't make any not weird, but obvious plays. Right. Gestures. He truly was just holding it. And Ricky was going off. He looked like he was about to take off.
Ricky looked like an angry chihuahua that Hobbs was trying to hold back. I mean, Ricky was changing colors. Shout out to Ricky Starks, who's absolutely phenomenal on the mic, by the way. He said that he murders them on the mic every time, and I feel like, to be fair, he is one of the best people on the mic in AEW. Again, conviction, always knows what he's going to say, always executes perfectly. And the fact that the only thing to shut him up was what came next.
Yep. So as Ricky is losing his absolute mind, the Young Bucks interrupt. And essentially Ricky set the stage for them to make their entrance and talking about who is the best tag team, as they are currently our AEW tag team champs. And they said, the tag team roster is alive and thriving. Everybody is full, but remember who set the table. They had an amazing Double or Nothing match, Swerve in Our Glory and Team Taz, and it was about 4.5 stars, which is basically an off day for the Young Bucks. They're just so damn good. But in response, immediately the fans with a huge FTR chant. So no questions there as far as who the people think is the best tag team in our AEW roster currently. And I honestly agree.
Hey, man, I don't know if there's anybody that can argue that FTR aren't the best tag team in the world right now. I love the Young Bucks. Listen, I love the Young Bucks. But FTR, as far as in between those ropes as a tag team, as a unit, top guys. Nobody's hotter right now. And FTR has been proving why they have consistently been one of the best tag teams. You really have to take a second and appreciate the fact that FTR were able to survive and thrive still as one of the most talked about and top tag teams in a company that does not give a damn about tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still in the conversation. So, I mean, the collision course that was inevitable, which was FTR and the Young Bucks, I'm glad it finally happened. And I'm glad FTR and the Briscoes happened, which we'll get to that.
Yes, we will hear more from FTR a little bit later in regards to, oh no, Charmaine with the hot takes here.
Charmaine, they're FTR are good guys now, so we got to cheer them, and they're absolutely outstanding in between them ropes, just as much as the Young Bucks, even though the Young Bucks are definitely dickheads right now, and are kind of always dickheads, but that's part of the reason I love them. They still can't be.
Crying. Hey man, comment below.
To each their own, right?
Comment below who you think the best tag team is.
I would like to cycle back real quick. Speaking of which, this right here, man, we'd have to have a whole separate podcast for that. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You just named basically most of my favorite tag teams. Throw the Young Bucks in there, you got all my top 5. So yeah, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Maybe I'll have something for you next week, brother.
Crying. All of this to culminate in a triple or nothing, as they're calling it, essentially a 3-way tag team match for the AEW tag team titles. Young Bucks versus Team Taz versus Swerve in Our Glory. And it will be next week on Wednesday for the first night of Fyter Fest. And as Joker has so eloquently pointed out, Fyter Fest is a multi-night event, so chances are high we will be in attendance for night 2, as it is supposed to be in our backyard in Georgia. So super excited, can't wait to hear what is going to fill out the rest of the card for Fyter Fest night 2, as we will be getting to see that live and in person. For anybody who is joining us here on the internet, if you see us out and about, say hi. We'd love to meet you. Like, share, subscribe. You can find us at all of our social media platforms above and below. And with that out of the way, a House of Black promo just for me.
I like the House of Black too.
Excuse me. I wore the horns. You supported Penta. So who is the real member of the House of Black?
We're both in the picture, so
whatever. Anyway, House of Black promo, again talking about the main event, the interim AEW title match. Malachi talking about how their violence is by design, and that he will be sure that Brody leaves his mark on Moxley, and that Malachi envies John Moxley in a way. I mean, Brody King looks like he is ready to go. But we will talk more about the main event later on in the show. Next, we hear from Joker's favorite wrestler in AEW, Eddie Kingston's promo with Tony Schiavone. Eddie comes out to congratulate people. He says he's grown and he's looking like a better person. He congratulates Wardlow on winning his TNT title. Absolutely. He even congratulates all the members of the Blood and Guts team, Blackpool Combat Club, even Claudio. He's a bigger person. He's a good man. But at the end of the day, Jericho made Eddie a liar because he didn't bleed. He didn't get to taste his blood. And he's going to keep coming after Jericho until he gets his way. We pan to a video backstage where Ruby Soho is getting her arm slammed in a car door by Ty Conti. And Eddie better watch out or it's going to be him next. Do you have any fear for your man, Eddie Kingston, or is it just another day in the streets for him?
Yo, the Mad King will have his way with the wizard. Even Merlin reported to King Arthur. You know why that happened?
Why?
Because Chris Jericho's a wizard.
I'm crying. I am crying. Sorry, people.
But yeah, man, Eddie's gonna tar and feather that, man, especially after they came for his number one homie, Ruby Rizzy.
Mm-hmm. Arm's completely shattered now.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I guess they're gonna stop picking at Mox and Kingston. They saw what they did to the Young Bucks, driving trucks into their campers and whatnot. But yeah, man, he's gonna murder that man. Came after Ruby. He's gonna get the hands.
It's over now.
He really gonna make him bleed. Gonna look like Eddie on his own shirt.
And it's interesting. I wonder where we go from here, because obviously we had Blood and Guts where everybody was involved, but obviously the beef at the end of the day needs to be squashed between Jericho and Eddie. And while the Blackpool Combat Club have been a good accompaniment to this feud, at some point Eddie's got to fight his own battle, and I wonder if it just becomes like a steel cage match, or
please be night 2 of Fighter Fest to be something stupid.
Well, I mean, Atlanta did get the very first steel cage match, so I'm very curious to see what they end up deciding for night 2. We'll have to just wait and see. Next, we did get the follow-up to all of the talk of Mr. Brody Lee. The Dark Order came out with -1 to do a promo. And essentially, they wanted to let everybody know about a very important announcement. There were 6 people in the ring at the time: Evil Uno, 10, Silver and Reynolds, Anna Jay, and -1. And Uno said that the 6 of them, those 6 that I just named, are going to be there to stay. The Dark Order is forever, and they're not going anywhere. And of course, Rochester lost their damn minds. To which QT Marshall comes out, and for anybody who has not been paying attention to the dark segments on YouTube, -1 and QT Marshall have hella heat, hella beef. So this young child pulled this man's pants down, and he ran around the ring in his undies.
He's tripped him before. I think he took $5 from him once.
That sounds about right.
Kid's a menace.
He truly is.
His dad
But QT comes out and basically is like, what is this kid going to be, a charity case until he's 18? Although he is the son of the great Mr. Brody Lee, he must take after his mom because he's not awesome like his dad was. And he basically challenges -1 to fight. He's going to fight a child.
QT Marshall, everybody.
And as he's trying to bait -1, talking about breaking all his toys backstage and all that, who comes out to make the save but Hangman Adam Page, the honorary member of Dark Order, coming out.
That's what that means. He come out with fireworks and and cowboy strutting, and then he comes and lariats the hell out you. That's what cowboy shit means.
I mean, he just Hangman Page, he's still my champion. I don't care what anybody says. I just imagine the belt around his waist as he's strutting down to the ring. Like it's still there. But essentially, -1 gets the mic at the end and says that he could pin QT right now, but he's gonna wait until he's 19 to pin QT of his own volition. So
shout out to Jr.
Hey man, that's long-term storytelling if I've ever seen it.
6 years, yeah.
Because it's gonna be crazy in 6 to 10 years when they are cutting segments from him as a kid, running amok, and QT's
showing stuff with his dad. His debut package is going to be nuts.
Yes, I truly agree. And I think that, he's been on TV less and less. I think that, they really needed the support and everything in the early times. But as he's gotten back into school and everything like that, I think that we have seen less and less of -1. But it's good to...
Amanda still works there.
Right. But I'm saying, like, as far as in the public eye, it's good to see him every now and again. But letting the people like miss him and, he he grows like a weed. He's a young boy.
I know, he's so big.
So it's almost like every time we see him, he is kind of growing into this little version of his big brother 10. And it's going to be amazing when he comes back and truly whoops QT Marshall's ass. And I'm can't wait to be there for it. Indeed. All right. Moving on to what they are describing as a grudge match between Penta Oscuro and Roosh. Penta coming out with Alex Abrahantes and Rey Fenix, and Roosh coming out with Andrade El Idolo and Jose the Assistant. Apparently Andrade and Roosh are an official tag team, I guess I don't remember, I guess it was in AAA. They had a official tag team name. I didn't quite catch it. But they are reviving this tag team.
De Innorables.
That one. They are resurrecting this official tag team to kind of do work. I mean, as if the tag team division wasn't already stacked enough. But it is nice that like they can get tag team wins, but still also do their own single stuff. So a couple highlights here. Penta with a tope over the top. A fight breaks out on the outside of all the extra people who are not actually in the match as we go into the commercial. Come back from the commercial. We've got headbutts, knee strike from Roosh, chops in the corner by both of them. And in the end, there's a package pile driver by Andrade to Roosh. But I'm sorry, not Andrade. From Penta to Roosh. And so Andrade gets the foot on the ropes, and with the distraction, Roosh gets a low blow and pulls off Penta's mask, disorienting him for the win. Not surprising. Roosh is obviously, this is his singles debut, especially on Dynamite.
Yes.
So not surprising that he would come away with the win here. Penta can afford the loss. He's not doing anything as a single star currently. I think the real money for them is going to be in the trio. So definitely good to see him on our TV. I mean, we're familiar with his work from AAA, at least a little bit. So it's good to see him.
Buenas noches.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the love and support. Hope you get a good night's sleep.
Moving on to a promo, of course, Jay Lethal.
The match was really good, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't say anything about the match, so I was moving on to
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I didn't know if you had anything else. No, great match. Always glad to see the luchadors get to fight each other because they throw caution to the wind. Absolutely outstanding. Penta is able to also get away with the loss because, the tearing off of the mask. And just shout out to Alex Abrahantes for spearing the bejesus out of poor little thing through everything he had at Jose and his swole ass.
That's the most buff assistant I have ever seen.
Bruh, I'm trying to tell you. Jose had to have been a wrestler. But yeah, glad to see that. That was fun. They got thrown out during one of the commercials. And yeah, just a fun match. Great match. Always good to see El Toro Blanco. Roosh. Yes, sir. I know I always say it, but Penta Sling Blades, man. Best in the game. I'm sorry. Best in the game. I can't wait for the inevitable tag team match we're going to get with Roosh and Andrade and the Lucha Brothers. That's going to be phenomenal.
Agreed.
But moving on.
Another Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt promo. Look, we hear from them every week. At least now we have an update. The Ring of Honor TV Champ match is official. It will be July 23rd, Death Before Dishonor, the first official return of Ring of Honor to pay-per-view. And this is the one of the first matches that they have officially locked into place. We will talk about another one that potentially is in the works and kind of working on an announcement. But essentially, they're not going to take Samoa Joe lightly, but they will be taking his title. And Saddam Singh says, new champ. I think he's taking the gimmick that, that's why Luchasaurus is evil now, because Saddam Singh needed I'm just going to repeat one thing that was said in this promo at the end of the promo and be the big scary buff guy. So I get it. This is way better for Luchasaurus. This fits Saddam Singh just fine. It is what it is. It's for Ring of Honor. Joker, do you think Samoa Joe is losing his title?
I hope not.
I hope not either. Samoa Joe's a great champ.
Yeah. I really hope not. But if anybody can retain, it'll be Samoa Joe.
Yep.
Because it's Samoa Joe.
Especially coming off of his acting, well, maybe not body doubling. I don't know. He's going to be in a movie.
It's acting.
It is acting.
He's using his body.
What up?
What up, Mike? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Thank you for joining us.
I'm sorry. Anything else about what were we literally? Yes.
Oh, Samoa Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited to see him Sweet Tooth, and I'm definitely excited to see him back at Death Before Dishonor, which July 23rd. Check it out. It's going to be amazing.
It is going to be amazing. We will probably end up talking about some of the stuff here leading into it as it kind of overlaps with Dynamite on a little bit of Rampage. So stay tuned for little tidbits, but definitely check out the real thing. Support the show. Next, we had part 2 of our Tony Nese promo. Mark Sterling continuing to try to get signatures for this petition to get Swerve removed from the roster. He wants Best Friends to sign it. He approaches Orange Cassidy, and Orange says that he doesn't sign anything without his lawyer present, to which Danhausen, Esquire, Abogado at Large came out.
Avocado at Large?
Hey, man. If you know, you know. Essentially, at the end of the day, it ends up it turning into a challenge for a match at Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
To get all the monies. If Tony wins, then Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends will sign the petition to have Swerve removed. And if they lose, then they just won't. End of the segment was just a bunch of lawyer speak, overruled, hearsay, objection. Danhausen is something else, man. I mean to tell you. Every time I see him, he's funny. Every time. I always think that this is going to be the time that it doesn't come across right, or it's not as funny as it always is, or like I am waiting for the other shoe to drop when it comes to Danhausen and his style of humor. And maybe it's just me. Or us, because I know Joker also really likes Danhausen, but the man is funny and gets comedic timing and gets audience reaction. So I've been proven wrong literally every week up to this point.
Bruh, love that Danhausen. Okay, like him coming out with his little sheet of paper saying lawyerings. With his I can't even say half tied, because it was literally just a tie that had been folded over one time on itself. And Danhausen in general, the man is a comedic genius and understands what he's there for and what he does, and he does it well. And so him playing off of Mark, I like dumb stuff, and I can't help that I laugh at it. It's funny. Like, I don't want everything to always be serious all the time. There's no fun in that.
Right.
So, like, I enjoy these moments, especially when you're dealing with people like Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, who are also more on the comedic side of things. And so I mean, I'm also very excited to see this match between Tony Nese and Orange Cassidy because that's going to be really good because Tony Nese is a very good wrestler and you got Orange Cassidy who's also an amazing wrestler. So I'm very excited to see the match. But yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to get a shoot. Like, if anything, it'll be somebody else who can't bounce off of Danhausen. Like, I don't know if Danhausen's going to be the one that falls flat. You know what I mean? Like, if something doesn't work, I feel like it'd be because the other person and not so much Danhausen, because it's kind of impossible not to find, like, you know, if you're into that style of humor, not to find Danhausen amusing.
Right. I kind of agree. And look, we get it. He's not for everybody. Not everybody likes Danhausen, contrary to popular belief. But he's funny. Like, he's a funny guy. Moving on to the Acclaimed and Gunn Club, aka the Ass Boys, versus Ruffin' It, which is Bear Country, and who is it? Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff. And Fuego del Sol. We watched Dark last night, and could not help but chuckle.
Taz went on a whole rant.
Taz and Excalibur are left to their own devices on YouTube. And so we watch Dark, if nothing else, for the commentary alone. The two of them are just hilarious. And so Taz got the bright idea that they needed another bear for Bear Country. And like, he got really stuck on the alliteration of Baby Bear. So Baby Bear Bambino is who they decided to name whoever filled this spot. And I remember saying, because I saw this trio before, this is not the first time that the three of them have, you know, fought together. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be funny if Leon Ruff became the Baby Bear? And so, of course, seeing the three of them together, I lost it.
And they already have a tag team name.
And they have a tag, like, he just needs a little jumpsuit like them.
A little bear mask.
A little bear mask. Oh, man, it would be great. But anyway, four-way match.
A koala or something.
Not a koala.
It's a tiny bear. I mean, it's not actually a bear, but you know.
He just come out riding somebody's back.
I mean, he's small enough. He could come out and clinch to the back of a boulder. You wouldn't even see him.
Yeah, it's true. Like the fucking Fry Cook games.
Exactly. Just like that.
Oh, no.
A little holster on his back.
Stop it. Anyway, so the Acclaimed come out and they're about to do the rap, and fucking Austin Gunn steals the mic. No rap this week. They might end up doing it like on Rampage.
Boy.
I don't know. They took it away from the crowd and they were not happy. They definitely
they were not happy.
The Acclaimed very confused. They're trying to work together with the Gunn Club. And essentially at the end, the Ass Boys steal the victory because Max Caster does the mic drop from the top rope, but Austin had tagged himself in. He comes in and gets the pin victory. And there is a brawl that ensues after the match. And then Billy this week turns on the Acclaimed. Like, I'm confused. Just last week, he was on the side of the Acclaimed. Now he's siding with his sons. I think Billy's just fickle.
Fickle! Yeah. I don't know, man. Billy might just be getting senile in his old age. Can't remember which side he's on. I don't know. But it is obviously, I guess, their final breakup moment, which is sad because I was legitimately enjoying the Acclaimed boys. And, yeah. I also, at least if they were breaking up, I thought it was interesting to have Billy on their side and not on the Ass Boys side. So we'll see what happens next. But, I mean, I don't see the Gunn Club beating the Acclaimed.
Yeah, no, I think that...
Especially with Bowens just coming back, who looked amazing in this match, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Sure did. It is going to be interesting, but I think that with this collaboration, if you will, it has slowly been turning the Acclaimed face over the past couple weeks. I mean, people have been cheering exclusively for the Acclaimed while booing the Gunn Club because they can't get the name right of where they're at, and you know, just because their general ass boy demeanor. And Yeah, man. I think that this is a good trajectory for them. There are a lot of heel tag teams right now. The Young Bucks are still assholes. Team Taz are assholes. I don't know where Keith Lee and Swerve stand. People cheer for them, and Keith Lee's a good guy, but Swerve might be a bad guy. We don't really know. So just a lot going on in the tag division, and I think starting to transition some over to the other side where it makes sense will be good for business. Everybody loves the Acclaim.
Their best friend Danhausen gifted them with their own song. It's so wonderful.
I can't believe you sat there the whole time, and that's what you've been doing. I'm over here slaving over a hot notebook, and you're just over there pulling out foolishness.
Hey, that was a great song, and it mirrors their dad's music, and it's great. They should be thankful for what Danhausen has blessed them with and start using this music.
Who's also a lawyer in his spare time?
Did you not see his tie?
I mean, obviously.
It was so
very
perfect.
legitimate. Very legitimate.
Man,
alrighty.
Past every bar.
Moving on. Brief Miro promo here, talking about the House of Black. Essentially, Malachi collects broken people while he collects broken backs. I know it's not exactly what he said verbatim, but it's basically the same thing. And Miro's coming for the House of Black, and he is a god enraged. I can't wait to see Miro go against the House of Black. Like, literally every one of those matches is going to be amazing for completely different reasons. And as they come up, we will get more into detail on why they will be amazing, because we don't have the time tonight. But just know that this feud is going to be sick. I am also curious about who... Does anybody come to balance out the scales? Does Miro just be a badass and whoop all three of their asses at the same time? Like, who knows? I really don't know.
I can see him running through all of them.
I know, but
Malachi at the end.
Right. He's going to have the individual matches, but, you know, the numbers game always comes into play, especially with factions and stuff. So it'll be interesting. Just like with Eddie, we were like, who's going to fill the gap? Who's going to be the one to come in and... Huh?
Chip.
We did see him in the audience with his box on his head.
Mm-hmm.
We did see him. Perhaps we don't know.
Over it.
Anyway, Miro's going to be amazing, as he always is.
Always is. Promo was fire.
Yes, absolutely. As it always is. I mean, literally every time the man talks. Next, we had Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir, the newly joined tag team there versus Thunderstorm, our AEW Women's Champ Thunder Rosa, with Toni Storm as her tag team partner. Nyla and Marina come out with umbrellas because obviously the tag team of their opponent's name is Thunderstorm, so you know it writes itself. People, it writes itself.
Shout out to Nyla Rose. I know that was her goofy ass idea.
Always amazing. This is Thunderstorm's first match together, even though they have great chemistry, and they looked really good. They kept Marina Shafir isolated in their corner for the majority of the match. Nyla did get an unauthorized shot in with an umbrella to Tony's back. Tony's hip attack always looks absolutely devastating. And in the end, they do a combo move for the win. Pretty straightforward. Seems like the two of them are going to be together for a little while, I guess, before things start falling apart.
Yeah, that Thunder Tiger Meltzer driver. I don't know what to call that. That they did. Oh, they called it the Thunderstorm.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think that's what Excalibur said.
What do I know? I've been taking notes.
Yeah, but match was great. You got a lot of very talented individuals in the ring, and Marina Shafir, who's doing quite well these days. The look of Nyla Rose coming out with the fire and everything and the music and ripping the mask off. And then you just have Marina Shafir walk out with her hood on, with the umbrella. Just
honestly, it worked out because Nila spits water at the beginning.
Good.
So
here's the thing. I forgot that the name of the tag team was Thunderstorm. So I legitimately, originally, before I saw Nyla's, thought that she legit just had that umbrella there. Like, if that was so, like, if she literally held that there just long enough for Nyla to do her spit thing and got done with it and just threw it away, I would have been on the floor. Okay.
Oh, like, yes.
That would have been such beautiful comedic timing. Especially with the.
Right, because you're supposed to be taking them seriously, but I mean, Nila is just hilarious naturally, so.
Surprise, bitch!
Oh boy!
Best follow on Twitter. If you need somebody to follow on Twitter that's a wrestler, please follow Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose has no sense.
Absolutely.
Whatsoever.
Hoot. A whole hoot nanny. Next we had Jade Cargill with a promo. Tony Schiavone in the back. Before Tony can even get started, Nyla tells him to cut the shit, as she always does. Oh, yes, Jade. Sorry. My bad.
You're a queen.
Yes, I know, but
I know it's almost midnight.
It truly is. Essentially, she's still pissed about last week, asking Stokely what the hell was that. Stokely saying that he's willing to bet on Layla Gray, obviously offering her a good bit of money to turn the tide, obviously trying to convince somebody who just fought you to now protect you. And Jade says, well, if she doesn't deliver, that's going to be Stokely's ass at the end of the day. And she storms off. So Stokely making a good point. 3-on-2 is better than 2-on-2. So the numbers advantage is always good. Curious how this all plays out. I mean, I know Mark has moved on to another project. Is this the beginning of the dissolving of? I know we literally just talked about it last week about how she doesn't need a mouthpiece. Could he already be on assignment somewhere else? Or do you think that he ends up making the right play and this is just all for the drama?
I feel like it's all for the drama. And like I said, I really feel like Jade has the potential to legitimately start the first real female faction in AEW. And if they're intending on bringing Layla in anyway, what better way to A, bolster Jade's forces, and B, bring in somebody new that is maybe not as well known to everybody else. I think she was in WWE at some point, but just it makes sense. And
she looked good.
Yeah, she did. And she fits the part. I mean, she looks the part. She fits the part. She's a good wrestler. And like I said, it's good to have somebody else. And now you can have extra people to where wherever they decide to do the women's tag team, division, you can have a full dedicated tag team to being a tag team and still have Jade's backup.
Right.
My magic number, I think, is 5. Is the magic number in my head. 2 for a tag team and 2 to have behind Jade. And I feel like Layla fits that, that mold. And then you have Kiera and Velvet go off and do the women's tag team thing. Just where I'm at personally. Could
be. As we said earlier, touching on a couple more matches that are at least confirmed or semi-confirmed for Death Before Dishonor. Daniel Garcia cut a small promo talking about his now confirmed match against Wheeler Yuta for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship match. This will be fought under pure title rules, pure match rules. No, nothing illegal, or else you will be. It's not only disqualified, you're like ejected from the company or like something pretty severe.
Well, it's for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I don't know if the
But
rules will apply, but
well, no, I mean, I was gonna say it doesn't pure wrestling rules, which means they only get 3 rope breaks. So you got to use those wisely. And then
I think it's if there's any outside interference, the
Yeah.
person who interferes will be released from the company or whatever to dissuade people from getting involved. But essentially, he says you can
it's
call
gonna
him
be a wrestling match.
Yes. You can call him a pro wrestler, you can call her a sports entertainer, but at the end of the day, you're going to call him the best. So good match there. Definitely excited. And then FTR cut another promo pretty much right after that, following the commercial, talking about how they are the IWGP Ring of Honor AAA champions. And at the end of the day, there are still some people who still don't think that they're the best, i.e. Charmaine. And several other people, I'm sure, online. But they call out the Briscoes for Briscoes versus FTR 2 at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So this is another match, I'm sure, that will end up getting made official by tomorrow, if it hasn't already.
Can't wait to watch Impact tomorrow.
Indeed.
Them
so
boys.
Joker, your thoughts on these 2 matches for Death Before Dishonor?
Them boys coming for them titles again, baby. I'm excited.
Now, do you think that they'll actually take them before FTR has an opportunity to get the ultimate gold?
No, but I'm very excited to see the match regardless, because I mean, it's the Briscoes. The Briscoes are one of the greatest tag teams in the world, and have been for a while now, almost 20 years. I was wondering how, or if they were going to be able to utilize the Briscoes in Ring of Honor stuff because of the issues with the network as far as dealing with the Briscoes. So I'm glad that at least in pay-per-view format, we can still get the Briscoes in Ring of Honor. And what that means for whenever they do, if they do wind up getting a TV deal or anything like that. Now, there was a report on Fightful about another wrestling company getting in talks with Netflix about having a show running on Netflix. So that could also open up the possibility for other avenues for other wrestling promotions, such as Ring of Honor. So, that might be an option. And if that becomes a thing, then maybe we will get the Briscoes on regular Ring of Honor television once again. But until that's all said and done, I'm glad we're going to at least be able to see them in some capacity once again. And like I said, that match was phenomenal. Probably the best tag team match this year, personally. Like straight up tag team match.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the Garcia Yuta match is also going to be a quiet banger. I think a lot of people will underestimate it. They're 2 pretty young talents going at it, but both have a lot of technical prowess to bring to the table. And I think it'll be a really good match, especially under pure rules. Should Dynamite have a 3-hour show? No, absolutely not.
No wrestling show should be 3 hours.
Yes.
Elvis. Also, Elvis, if I don't know if you've ever gone to an AEW live event, brother, but there's already a lot of stuff that goes on, and they would murder the crowd. The crowd wouldn't make it. If it was 3 live hours that are going to be on TV, people are going to go nuts because that's how they do. And especially, at least with the hot crowds. So anywhere where there's a hot crowd, they wouldn't make it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Dynamite and Rampage kind of function as 2 parts of a 3-hour show. Like Rampage is
Dark or Elevation.
Right, but I'm talking about like what is on national television.
Oh yeah.
That is the 3rd hour of the weekly televised segments of AEW television. And I think that it is good that it's broken up. It's obviously not broken up when it's being recorded. No secret that Rampage is not a live event. Usually. But I think that you're right. A 3-hour show on top of Rampage, on top of Dark Elevate, like it would just be too much.
Because technically, if you're there at the live event, you are getting a 3-hour show because Rampage is directly after Dynamite. So, but you should check one out whenever they come to your area. It's a good time.
Indeed.
Very good time. It's a different experience. I will say that right now.
Alrighty, everybody. Main event time. Time to go through this bad boy. It is going to be a brief recap of this interim AEW title match. Jon Moxley making his entrance, of course, and Brody King looking absolutely amazing.
Sick ink.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and his ink is phenomenal. He just looks intimidating. Totally bought that he could walk away from this as a potential threat. I don't think he would that would swap hands, but definitely do some damage to Jon Moxley, and that he did. Brody's a large man. Moxley sends Brody into the steps at one point, working on trying to take him out of the legs, as you do with a bigger opponent. Brody with a cannonball in the corner, but nobody was home. Moxley then trying to get at him with anything he can. He's got the nails. He's biting. And Brody then gets Moxley up in that same choke position as he had Darby Allin in last week to get his title shot. In the end, Moxley with his hammer and anvil elbows into a pretty nasty bulldog choke, and they got a really good close-up view on Brody's face as he was
his eyes started going bloodshot.
Yeah, his eyes started rolling back into his head and everything like that. It was a good shot. It was definitely very, very convincing. Like, obviously I know they're truly putting their bodies on the line with these sorts of things, but like, you know, really feeding into Mox just choking the life out of this very large man.
Because he made Mox look so small. And it was funny because JR said, I think Mox was giving up 53 pounds. And I was like, that's only 53 pounds. Huh. Anyway, that's a very, very large individual. It didn't look like 53 pounds, but hey, man, I don't know. John's not a small guy, and Brody made him look so tiny. Because, like, in that bulldog choke, as he's wrenching back, I mean, it looked like John only took up half of this man's back. And granted, while it may have been a smaller weight difference than expected, the height difference was clear as day. I mean, I think John's like 6'2". Brody's 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
It's a big dude. It's just gigantic. That cannonball that he does is just absolutely destructive and just nasty. And the one where John moved out the way, the first one he did, and John moved out the way. Good God. Like, he full send into the corner and landed so hard he hit and then slid down and hit his head. On the canvas, and I'm just like, Jesus, man. Like, Brody's one of those people, like, if I saw him on the street and if there was like would you get in a fight with this person? No, I wouldn't get in a fight with him. Are you insane? I'd shoot him in his kneecaps. What's wrong with you? Glock Anderson's School of Hard Knocks. What's up? Hey, man, I learned from Glock Anderson, okay? Glock Anderson told me if somebody that big, if a big son's a bitch like that comes at you, you shoot him in his kneecaps with your Glock. Bang. Glock Anderson.
Crying.
Just saying. It's what he taught me. You listen to the Four Horsemen.
I guess so. I'll leave you with that one.
Shout out Jon Moxley coming in with the win. Outstanding as always. Hashtag always my champ. Hashtag you're doing way better here. Hashtag rest of the year.
Again.
He shall carry it on his back again.
As he should. I mean, Moxley's definitely the guy. He's got a lot of charisma. A lot of people really resonate with him. So,
still one of the best promos in the company.
Yeah, man, he can cut a promo just about on anybody. Same thing with Eddie. So, definitely can't wait to see who else ends up kind of being slotted to face. Like, it's very interesting because since it's an interim title, you can have a lot more interesting opponents without, I don't want to say sullying the title pool, but they kept it very strategic about who is going after the champion. You know, and there's been a level of succession when it comes to who currently holds it, who's going to be going after it, and who's eventually going to take it. So it is nice to see somebody like a Brody King who normally wouldn't get this kind of, I mean, there have been some one-off opportunities, but I think it's less impactful when it's like an interim title somehow.
There's a lot more. Well, they didn't have a necessarily have a storyline to go along with it in the first place. So you do get that opportunity and to have a lot of more fun, especially when you got a guy like John who can work with just about anybody and having an absolutely 4-star minimum match, you know. And John is one of the stiffest workers in the company. So you're always going to get something hard hitting that's going to be main event worthy. And like I said, John demands the presence that he has. And I mean, he's always going to get a pop. He's always going to deliver. Big, small, doesn't matter. John Moxley.
I agree.
Patron saint of all Johns.
I'm crying. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for sticking with us for this supersized edition of the UPR Dynamite recap and review. Like I said earlier, like, share, subscribe. You can catch us at all of our lovely social medias above and below. Anywhere you can type in searching UPR Unpopular Review, you can find us. As always, I'm Divine Intervention. He's All Elite. Him this way. This is All Elite Joker.
Baby.
And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, people.